What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day as always. Today we are doing an update of our low-tech, meaning no air, no CO2, no fertilizers, and no lights. So as low-tech as you can really go, rack update. This is the last couple weeks, so it's kind of a few weeks worth of updates here, as these tanks move a little slower than some of the others. But you can see here our Java Moss tank. It grew fine. All the algae ended up getting outcompeted, which is what we expected. It just kind of grew a little bit too messy for what I had planned, so we ended up putting a little guppy grass in there to get it situated. And we're going to remove that Java Moss today, or in this video. We're going to go ahead and pull that out, and we're going to do something different in there. I'm not sure what we're going to do with that tank yet, but we're not going to keep it the way we had it. So you can see our hornwort and Alternanthera tank has gotten overgrown. There's so much growth in there. All the plants are very happy. Even the Alternanthera, which is normally a pretty high requirement plant in most cases, has just been happy as can be. So we're going to go ahead and get some trimming done and start cutting out some of this hornwort to get this tank a little aquascaped, and just so we can see in a little bit better, because I like to be able to see in my tanks occasionally. So we'll go ahead and show you how we're going to trim this today and get into that. Next up, we have our pearlweed tank, which gets the most natural light and most light in general. And as we can see here, the tank has algaed over quite a bit. There's definitely some algae on every side of this tank that is using the excess nutrients and light that the pearlweed is not using up, and creating just a thin film of algae on the glass. A lot of people are familiar with this type of algae. It's probably the most common. We are just going to quickly just get rid of most of it. Most people use scrub brushes. We do use those, or a soft sponge, something that won't damage your glass or acrylic. And in this case, we're going to use a straight razor, a razor blade, and just kind of work it off very easily and gently, making sure we don't scratch the glass or cut ourselves. We can see that the water is very clear. There's no real need for a water change at this point, even with no filtration going except for the plants. These tanks are pretty clean. We're doing the water change mostly for just to get more nutrients in for the plants, and kind of make sure they have nice good water, and also to replace the evaporation. So the next thing we need to do is trim up some of this pearlweed. It's gotten a little bit taller than I want for carpeting, and I want to shape it up a little bit. So we're just kind of trimming it down to size and shape. Now all of these cuttings that you're seeing coming off will be left floating. Those will grow into new pearlweed stems in most cases, so there's no real need to throw those away. We can just leave them floating, and they will provide additional cover, and they'll help get rid of some of that algae because now we have even more plants consuming nutrients in the water column. So you can see here we kind of just leveled it out, shaped it up just a little bit, and it looks a little bit better with the clean glass and freshly pruned carpeting. Now we did this off camera, but while we were filming some of the other stuff, but we did go ahead and pull out all the Java moss from this 10-gallon hiker tank, and we left the guppy grass and added a little bit of substrate in because it did not have very much substrate. It was basically a bare bottom. Probably gonna put even more in, honestly, and then kind of maybe do some kind of planted stem plant in there. So we'll see. I don't have a definite plan for this aquarium yet, but we're gonna keep it in the manner of the rack, which is low tech, no lights, no nutrients, no filter, no heat, no anything, just natural sunlight and lights when I'm filming so I can get good shots. Alright, so now that we've cleaned all our tanks up a little bit, done a little bit of pruning, we're going to go ahead and do the water changes. So we're just going to go through each tank, pull out a half to 3/4 of the water, just depending on how much room we have in the bucket. These tanks, the water does look pretty clear and clean here, so we probably don't need to really do water changes right now, but we're just going to go ahead and do them for the sake of doing it. All of the water changes have been completed. We went ahead and filled the tanks back up to our water line, and you can see here it's about 4 or 5 p.m. so the sun is hitting through the window onto the tanks. Everything is purling, super happy with its new water and being trimmed up. Well, I'm not going to talk anymore, so we're just going to go in on some close-ups and look at what the difference in all these tanks is at this 4 or 5 week mark of progress, from planting it to having them pretty much carpeted and growing happily. Let me know what your favorite tank is, and if there's any plant that we have that you'd like to see me do this with, because we now have a freed up tank. Let me know in the comments below, and enjoy these tanks.